Actually, I built this 7 foot by 3.5 foot workbench, which is pretty big.
That's slightly bigger than my desk here, Jeremy. That's pretty big.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's and it's been great because I don't really need that much surface to work on, but there's enough surface that I could put a camera on and everything else, and it's actually kind of to that point. We'd had something down about we're talking about how kind of shifting gears a bit. If you make one thing in digital manufacturing with a laser, 3D printer, et cetera, you can make all kinds of that things. Whereas somebody like
Repeatability.
yeah,
Easy
somebody like
repeatability.
somebody like Rex that we had on, I bet he could make one of most of what I make, and way faster than I make it to begin with.
Yeah.
But at the
And
same
maybe you can
time,
make two or three faster than you too,
maybe you can
Jeremy.
make two or three. But at the same time, when you make part after part after part, all of a sudden the digital manufacturing becomes pretty nice.
It does. I have a little doodad that I printed. Was one of the first things I designed and 3D printed myself. I have these monitor stands that clamp onto the desk, and they're basically just a tube that sticks up with a plastic cap over the top. Well, I took the cap out and I made a little doodad that goes. You insert the cylinder into that cap, and it has the mounting hole for, the IKEA lamps, the arms that
Okay.
have a light on the, kind of like your mic stand in front of you there.
Yeah.
So you can put
Okay.
then I have a mount for my Logitech webcam that goes on the end. So you can, and
Oh, nice. That's
you
a
can
good
cut
idea.
that. You could start with a dowel, drill a hole in it, and you'd be done. And you've made one. But then we needed one at the makerspace on the stand up. They have a stand up. They had a 50-inch TV on a rolling cart that had two tubes in the back, but different size tubes. But since it's a parametric design, I just said, "Oh, the diameter's different." Printed one on their printer, and I was able to put a webcam up on the TV for video game night in 20 minutes. And then Brian
Nice.
printed one too for his. He had a different monitor stand, so it didn't quite fit. So he just put more numbers in and go. And none of the people besides, like if I was Rex, I'm not picking on Rex by saying Rex, am I? Or am I?
No, it's probably if
But
you are.
if I was Rex, I could make that out of wood. But
If you-
then
if you are
Brian
some
can't
other
because he
Rex.
can't. He can't. Brian has no tools to work with wood. He does, but he doesn't.
Sure,
use
this is
them.
your friend Brian Moses, right? I assume.
Yeah, this is my friend Brian Moses,
Okay, very cool.
and and all you need is a 3D. That's what's neat about 3D printers. Anybody who has one can just print the things other people have already made, and you don't have to learn all that much.
Right. Well, I guess I was thinking about the workbench that I made. Right, it's got an overhead stand, and so I saw this design for a light by that guy Pocket 83 that we had on many a couple years ago at this point, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I could make like one link for this to practice some laser cutting things. Well, I designed it in CAD, or designed it. I copied his design to kind of an iterative version of mine, cut it out in laser, made a bunch of improvements, cut another one out, another one, et cetera, et cetera. And I was really just planning to make one or two, but all of a sudden I'm like, I can just cut out as many of these links as I want. And all of a sudden I got this awesome camera stand. So I haven't
You
used
just hit
that
the
a whole.
print again, print again. I know it's not printing, but cut again, cut again, cut again, over and over
Exactly.
again.
And you went you've got a Prusa, right? A Prusa Mini?
I have a Prusa, the Mark III S,
Okay.
the big one. I really wanted the Mini. I love the Mini, but the lead time on it when I ordered was like an extra 6 months, and my old printer was broken, and I couldn't wait 6 months for a new printer,
Okay.
so I had to spend more.
Yeah, well, that's how they get you, right?
Yeah, but it was worth every penny. My old printer was a Prusa style printer, a clone of the old Prusa, and it was a fantastic printer. I had to do a lot of work to get it printing well. But now this Mark III, I had to pay extra for this, but I opened the box, cut a few zip ties, hit the test button. It did its test print. It went fine, and then I just started sending files to it, and everything just worked. Just
Oh, yeah, that sounds awesome.
no effort.
Yeah, I've heard that about the Prusas. I think Max Maker got one, our old host, and he was quite happy with the results. So I think for a consumer level printer, they're quite good. I use a Monoprice Maker Ultimate 2, and that's been a pretty good printer too. I can't say it's been entirely problem free, but once you get it kind of tuned in, it's a nice. I don't know. It's a nice. It's like a cube, you know. It's got the XY gantry on the top, whereas the Prusas generally have the moving bed, and
Yep.
apparently that works fantastically. But something about that really bothers me from a
Your brain
mechanic.
just doesn't like it. It doesn't agree with it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's not maybe not logical. I guess you got a lot of mass there, but it's not something it just doesn't seem like that's the way it should be, and that's maybe just
Yeah.
my
Well, it's not entirely unproblematic. If you print something tall and narrow, it starts
Oh,
to.
right.
There can be some. I've never. I try not to print things that are too tall. Tall prints take a long time.
I had one of the Monoprice Minis V version 2s. You know, I think they say they're the most popular 3D printer in the world or something.
That's the one with the
$200.
single arm hanging out.
Yeah, single arm hanging out, and the
Yep.
bed goes back and forth, and that, you know, for like $200 or a little less even, that's a fantastic printer. It's just amazing what you can do with such a small amount of money these days.
It is, and I'm amazed how many features Prusa crammed into the Mini. All the stuff that I was excited about upgrading to the Mark III from my ancient printer. You know, the quiet stepper motors, the auto bed leveling with the Pinda probe, the flexible steel sheet with the PEI for the build plate. All those little things that add up to just hit the button and go, and your print works. They crammed all that stuff into the. It's like your Monoprice, your old Monoprice Mini. It's that same style printer, but with all these little upgrades that add up to
A
probably
good printer.
enough to be worth the price. It's not. I think it's $350 for a Mini. For a
Oh, is
Prusa
that
Mini.
it?
Yeah,
That's pretty cheap. I guess I always thought the Prusas were a little bit higher priced for good reason, but
yeah.
that's not bad at all.
It's not bad, but it's also a compromise because that style of printer where you only hold the print head up on one end is definitely a compromise because when you put the extruder all the way out at the end, there's a lot of weight on the end of a
Right,
long
right.
arm. But it still gets the job done. Maybe it can't go quite as fast, but it's not bad. It's for the price, it's amazing.
Okay.